tell us something that not many people know about yourself.
Wow, Dustin, that's a pretty good question.
So far, all of my questions are apparently pretty good. So
Yes.
I don't know what to tell you. Maybe this one's not so good. Hey, good afternoon, guys. It's Dustin Herbison with the Kelowna North Real Estate Group. I'm here with Alan Burke from Cheers, Okanagan Tours, and we're going to talk to him today a little bit about his business. So, Alan, welcome. Thanks for sitting down with us today. First of all, we'll get to the business part, but we want to know a little bit about you first so we can better understand you and your business. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Dustin, I've been here in Kelowna since the early 80s. Other than my wife and I did a lot of orphanage work around the world, so that took us to a lot of other places, but it was always nice to come home to Kelowna here, and including bringing a couple orphans to Kelowna.
Really?
And yeah, we adopted twins from Haiti, and the interesting part of their story is that they actually share the same birthday as my biological son, so technically we have triplets. They all turn 27 on April 15th.
So you have your hands full.
We
Holy
do.
cow. Wow, okay. So you said you've been all around the world. What are some of your favorite, say, all around the world? People often leave the Okanagan and say, oh, I had to come back. Are you one of those people? Or are you one of those people that dreams of a sunset somewhere else in another country?
Yeah, the answer is yes, Dustin, actually. We've enjoyed helping people around the world, and certainly we do have some fun places that we'd like to go ourselves.
Like give us an example.
Well, to give you a hint, I'm not retired yet, and I've been on 27 cruises, Dustin.
Okay.
So
Okay. That's a few more than me.
can't wait to retire. So anyways, but Singapore, everybody would ask us, because we've been to over 80 countries, and people say what was our favorite, and we found Singapore actually to be our favorite country.
Okay, awesome. But not quite as good as Canada. Yeah.
Absolutely, no. This is the ultimate.
There it is.
Yes.
Good. Awesome. So you've been in Kelowna then for
38
years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a few more years than me.
Yes. I bet it is.
Good.
Yeah.
So Alan, you own Cheers Okanagan Tours, right? And that's
Right.
the main reason we're here today is want to talk to you about your business and why you love Kelowna and sort of what drives you here in this market and talk about your business in general. So, when did you get started, and how did you decide to get started?
Well, I got started officially. The company's just 3 years old.
Okay.
Didn't actually start until June, so we're kind of only 2.5 years old. And I got started doing Cheers because I worked as a tour guide for another company for one season, and apparently I was having way too much fun. Got into a vehicle somewhat similar to this that was full of people, and was picking up my last two guests, and the lady got on from southern Alberta with her husband, and she said, "Oh my God, Alan, I'm so glad it's you." And all of us on the bus were like, "What are you talking about?" And so then she answered that question, "Well, you're an internet sensation." Well, then she just said, "Well, you need to go home and Google yourself." So I went home that day after the tour was over, and I got my wife to Google me. She was sitting there with her laptop in her lap, and she Googled me, and her eyes bugged out, and she said, "Oh my God, you are all over the internet." And these were reviews from people around the world exclaiming that they'd had a once-in-a-lifetime experience with me as their tour guide, and I just had no idea that I was performing at that level.
Amazing. So then that led into...
So that led into the thoughts, business thoughts of what I could do in regards to taking care of people. I have my why apparently I found out is I care, and so with that light bulb came on, and I realized, oh, that's why people thought I was their best boss or I did well as a parent, etc. So. Based on the fact that I care, we developed Cheers as a tour company, not just doing top tier wine tours, where that's a whole subject in itself, but then also addressing other issues. We were, in our first year, we were downtown after midnight, helping clean up the streets, getting people home safely. So the RCMP and the city bylaws, they absolutely loved us.
Are you still doing that?
And we're still doing that to this day. Yeah, sometimes it's a challenge for me at my age, but I actually love doing it.
Yeah, ripe 33. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. A ripe 33. And it's funny because today, Cheers continues to be involved in the community. As I mentioned, we were helping out the RCMP downtown. Well, now every September, I take one of my big coaches and I hit the road for 10 days with the 2 dozen RCMP for their charity Cops for Kids. And so that allows me to give back to every community that Cheers Okanagan Tours is involved in, throughout from Kamloops to the U.S. and over into the Kootenays as well.
Wow, so you've got your hand pretty much everywhere then.
Yes.
It's amazing because I think some people might be surprised to learn that Cheers has only been around for, you see, 3.5 years?
Just 3 years.
Because if you see the buses, and I think the camera's picking it up in the back here, we've got one of Alan's buses. You'll see the big Cheers, right? They're the white and the red. When I see one, it's almost like, oh yeah, there's another Cheers bus. So it seems like you have 50 of these things. Like, how many do you actually have running around the city?
Well, thank you. We actually only have 8 of our own, and then we rent more as we need them.
Right, okay. Awesome. So specifically, what kinds of things, specifically can you do? If a customer is wondering, okay, so we know you're in transportation, like where and how can they utilize your service the best, and what for exactly, like specifically?
So good question, Dustin. Going back to the my thing about I Care is we do over 200 weddings every spring, summer, and fall with the transportation. So it starts generally with the safe ride home from the reception, but then very quickly it expands to the brides and the groom sharing with their guests that they've discovered this 5-star tour company. And so in addition to doing the safe ride home from the reception, we end up also doing the taking the bride and the bridal party, picking everybody up, making sure everyone gets to the ceremony. In addition to that, we also do airport pickups, and so make sure that grandma and grandpa and everybody are actually taken care of. It's not any fun for a family with a once-in-a-lifetime experience like a wedding to not have people show up.
Right.
So then, in addition, the bride and groom are very excited to share with their guests, many of them on their wedding website, that they've discovered Cheers, where we exclusively have 5 stars. We're very privileged on Google and TripAdvisor from past tour guests. So that speaks very loudly to many people. That we're certainly reputable. And so then how the bride looks good actually is that she's let everyone know that's coming, because they're going to turn their wedding into either a long weekend or just an all-out vacation. And so now she's let them know about a highly reputable tour company that's here in the Okanagan that can do all kinds of tours, as well as providing transportation for the wedding.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So if somebody is wanting to do a wine tour, so sort of how do you set yourself apart in that particular market?
So Dustin, that's a really good question. How Cheers sets ourselves apart in the entire wine tour market is we have a phrase, is the difference between mediocre and magnificent is just 1,000 little things. And we have a reputation for doing those 1,000 little things, and where other people don't. And so we, for example, our tour guides do what we call Wine 101 before we even pull away from the curb. Wine 101 helps people to understand about swirling, swooshing, sipping, spitting, and actually swallowing doesn't even enter the conversation. So there's an enlightenment for many people. So coming back to what makes Cheers apart is the Wine 101 is teaching people. We really make it quite unpretentious, and it is.
It can be. It can be that.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. It's grape juice. But we want people to have a once-in-a-lifetime experience, Dustin. So in order for people to have a once-in-a-lifetime experience, we do a lot of setup, we do a lot of background. we bring along. I don't want to spoil all the things that we do, but
fair enough. You don't want to let all your tricks
we
out.
can't let all the tricks out, but we do a plethora of things that people remark on. Some things are public. For example, we're the only tour company to provide full-on charcuterie. So cured meats and cheeses, and because who doesn't want to have some food in the middle of a day of especially consuming wine?
Yeah, is there any last words that you would have to somebody watching this video?
Dustin, I think I love it when people go and read the reviews on TripAdvisor and Google and see that all people from all over the world and locals alike have just found Cheers to be exceptional to deal with. Just the other night we did one fella having his 30th birthday party, and we just took care of all the transportation, so he and his 24 friends could move around Kelowna for the evening for the birthday party without any hassles and without being concerned about drinking and driving. And as I mentioned before, and Cheers is heavily involved in the community. As a matter of fact, this coming weekend, there's another tour company that I'm lending 2 of my tour guides to, because he's got more work than he can handle, and he knows that I take things from the perspective that I'm community minded. I'm not competition minded, and so I just love to take care of people.